Okay, folks, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's the next journey. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's 42 degrees here in Hampstead. Where we go. All right, so this morning we're going to make two separate trips, sort of like yesterday. And which is not uncommon. So look at that. There's nobody within eyesight, but I'm using that turn signal. Yeah, dog. We just have an extra stop this morning. Drop off a little supplies, but it's a good morning. It's gonna be a good day. No matter what they say. Sun is shining down. Alright. Let's get this van moving. Alright, I have a story about yesterday. And it's good news. It's good news for all of my dedicated fans. By the way, I'm going to throw this out there. I want to have like an originals group, right? Like I noticed, like a few people did pop in and watch my video yesterday. So I think the more of these videos I make, maybe it'll get, it'll hit the algorithm somewhere. And I'm not, like I don't have a million people. Like right now, I like the fact that it's just a small group of us because, I'm just learning. But yesterday after I finished, spent some time online, and I was talking chatting online with that truck driver that I tell you about. I'm gonna have to like make a note. Maybe I'll ask him if it's okay. I imagine it is. He's very helpful, and he has a great video. He just does videos of his driving. Man, when I had this idea, hey, it'd be kind of fun to do this, and I started looking people up. His camera, he's got a lot of followers. He's got people that are chatting. He's the one that has I just saw a shooting star. Did you see that? I just saw a shooting star, so I'm gonna have to check this out if it came up on the camera. That'd be kind of cool. That was crazy. See, it is going to be a good day. When you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are. That was awful. And my singing gets better later today. Alright, but that was pretty cool though. I love stuff like that. So I get online and I'm watching his thing, and he's just driving. He drives like an 18-wheeler, and he just drives for hours. Like it's his job, but he talks to people, and that's really what I'm hoping to do here. I mean, not to that. I don't drive for hours for one thing, a couple maybe, and then and for me it's sort of the same trip every day, and 90% of mine is dark. He's driving, I think, usually during the day. I think he drives at night. I haven't watched him at night because I'm not usually up at night. But so I get online and all right, I'm going to talk to him today. I haven't added my own chat at this point ever with him, but I'm like, all right, I want to know why his video quality and audio and all of that is really good, consistently good. it's clear. And I'm like, is he using a phone connection? Because my phone connection is not doing that. I get a little fuzzy, my voice breaks up, and if I was watching, which I do after I'm done, like later, I look back at some of it sometimes, and I'm like, ugh. So I notice it does get clearer during the day. I think that probably the focus has to work less during the day. But so I sent him a chat. I'm like, hey, watch your channel, like your channel. Quality of your video is always consistently really good. Do you use just a regular, how do you connect? Do you use a regular phone connection, mobile connection? And so I'm waiting for it to it's usually like maybe 2 or 3 lines below, like the lady that reads it, they ought to, it's usually when I see people type something in there, it's usually like 1 or 2. So I'm waiting for my turn. So as it comes up, it's like, it says my name, and then it says my question, which is kind of funny. It's kind of funny to hear. But, so she says my question, and then he says, hey, Craig, how you doing? Thanks for watching, or whatever. And he said, no, I don't use the phone. So when I started, I was using a mobile phone link, but it just didn't have consistent connections. And he said sometimes, especially with him, he's like out. Sometimes he's doing a route where he's in the middle of absolutely nowhere and there's no service at all. And so he's like, hey, that really wasn't working. So he uses Starlink. He says, I use Starlink. I'm like, okay. So thanks a lot. I appreciate that. I figured it was something like that. So then I watched him a little bit longer, and then I was like, all right. So then, of course, I click on another link, and I'm like, now I'm going to be looking up Starlink stuff. So I started watching some videos about people that use Starlink for their mobile connections. Oh, and before I go into that, so the chat, inside the chat, people were starting, basically conversation. People were like, oh yeah, I remember when you used to just have a phone connection. It was, frustrating and da-da-da-da-da. And then other people were like, I love Starlink. It's the best. And it was basically, it turned into like a commercial for Starlink. I was waiting for like a chat message from Elon Musk. It was like it was intense. So that's all it took for me, right? Now I go down. Now I'm in the rabbit hole. So I signed up. I signed up to try to get to Starlink. I got to it, and I figured out, what you need to do. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to do it. So I clicked on the order, and it said that it would take 1 to 2 weeks for the Starlink Mini. That's what it is. It's like this little, it's about the size of a piece of paper, thicker. Maybe like a 1/4 of an inch thick, but square-wise, it's about the size of a piece of paper. And so it can sit on your dash. I think they tell people to put it on the roof of their car, or if you have a sunroof, you can mount it to the sunroof, because it does have to have through mount. It's got to be through glass. I'm going to try it on the dash. But so it said 1 to 2 weeks, and I'm like, because patience is one of my weaknesses. So God was sending me a few signals throughout the day yesterday about patience. I had a day yesterday where my patience was challenged, not in bad ways, sometimes in good ways. I would call this a good way. But I'm like, oh, I can't do this. So then I go online and I'm like, where can you buy a Starlink Mini? And there aren't really very many places, but they do sell them at an electronics store. Name because of the service I got there, but I just don't I don't want to do that. But because I want to have a little conversation about customer service. I think I'm going to have themes. I thought about that. I'm going to have themes. And this will turn into a customer service theme later. But so I go to this website, and it said that they had one available in the store. Now, I only live, I don't know, maybe literally less than 10 minutes from this store. If I was any further, I probably would have like ordered it online and then gone to pick it up. But I usually don't like to do that. I like to touch it before I order it. So, because once you give them all that information, then you're stuck. Like if I get there and they don't have it, then what do I do? So I get my dog was like, "What is going on?" Because I'm all of a sudden I'm like trying to get ready to get out the door real quick and go pick this thing up. So I get to the store and I bought it, and I'll do that story separately about that process. But I will say that the setup it's not super difficult. It isn't at all, really. The process itself is not difficult. What added a level of a little challenge for me was that I bought the device at a retail establishment. So if you have patience, if you're going to do Starlink and you have patience, I would suggest, it really wasn't a big deal, but it's going to be a smoother process if you buy it from them, because then you're saying, okay, you're ordering the Skylink or Starlink, and you are, now we're going to set up an account for you, and now we're going to get your user ID and blah, blah, blah. So you go through, you're kind of going through the steps in the right order. Whereas I'm sitting at home with the Starlink Mini already. So it took me a minute to figure out, how do I set up an account without buying the Starlink Mini, because I already have it. So that was one small little hurdle, but I got past that. And but otherwise, yeah, I mean, like so I got home, and probably within a half an hour, I was online. And I didn't test it out too much, because at that point, because I get up so early, I don't like to stay up late, so I was already kind of like past my normal bed. I'm like, all right, I accomplished what I wanted to for yesterday. I couldn't use it today because when you buy the Starlink device, it has the connection for you to plug it in to the wall, like a wall outlet. But to have the car charger, the cord that would connect to your cigarette lighter, or any other connection, you have to order that separately. So, of course, I looked all over for that. I ended up getting something on Amazon that will be delivered today. So, yeah, maybe tomorrow I'll try that out. I'm excited about it, because that's the only thing. The only thing is driving along, and the video's going, and the only thing I think about is, I'm very conscious of the fact that I could be talking to you at a time when my voice is breaking up. That's the worst thing. I mean, the video's bad too. I don't like a crappy video, but I also don't like the fact that I could be saying something that, like, in the middle of my sentence, it breaks up. Because I told you the other day about the comedy. Did I ever finish that story? I think I did. Where I had satellite. I feel like this actually took me back to when I first got XM radio 20 years ago or whatever it was. I don't know how long ago that was. Because it's the same idea. You have to have something, for to have satellite radio at that time, you had to have a thing, an antenna to connect or something, and you had to, and it was a little more touchy. I mean, I remember with XM radio, you had to have a very clear angle to the the sky. And they talk like you do, but most of the people for Starlink, they talk like, when they're selling it, they say, make sure you have the right connection. The antenna's got to be pointed toward the north, and they went through all of that. But everybody that I listened to online made it sound like they just throw it on the dash and it works fine. So we'll see. I'm prepared for either. I will prepare for either. Oh, you know what? I'll do that on the way back. I gotta drop something off. And they're right there, but I'd rather make my delivery first. And I'm going back to the bakery in between. So I was online. It's all set up, ready to go. I got the charger's going to show up today, thanks to Amazon. I got two different things. I got a charger, but not the charger. It's not a charger. It's an adapter, a connector to get the power cord to I ended up buying two of them. The one that's coming tomorrow is like, I think you can plug it. I can use it for anything. You plug it into the cigarette charger or cigarette outlet, and then you have like this little box that has a regular plug in. So I mean, I'm sure you can't plug anything in that you want, but the power that is needed, that's needed for the Starlink is so minimal that I'm not worried about that. Like, I'm sure you could plug a TV into this thing. Maybe you could. I don't know. But that's what I have that's coming today. And then I did order another cable. It's a shorter cable. It's like 50 feet long. It drove me crazy yesterday. You know the feeling you have when you're like unwrapping either wrapping up or unwrapping the lights for your Christmas tree, and it gets, kinks in it and stuff, and well, that was happening to me yesterday with this 50 foot long cord. I mean, it's good because if you are somewhere, let's say you're out camping or something, and you are in a bunch of trees, maybe if you were in a forest and you have to find a spot where it can get through the trees, maybe. I don't know. It sounds like they tell you that you need a clear shot of the sky, and that trees will affect it. But then I saw people online saying they haven't had that issue. Some guy said he was in a canyon. He drives through canyons. I mean, I'm sure if you drove through a tunnel, it's not going to work. But we will see. And I think the way my phone works, it will, if the Starlink connection isn't. All right, we're back. Got him. couple things in the cabinet. Okay. Delivery made. All right, I'm putting this up front with me, so I don't forget it. Bread guy pulled up, so I wanted to get out of the way quickly. I know, I'm putting my seatbelt on. Okay. Bread guy, I think when my van wasn't there, what they do is the bread guy I go right next to the Prius. So I think he has enough room, but he was just sitting there. Excuse me. I should be doing this. Not looking, just doing. Off on the way back. It is 5:55. Took a little bit longer than expected because the knocking on the window wasn't working. Now I have to make a decision. Do I go straight up 140? I don't think so. I'm going to go 795. Because where I'm going is all the way up at the top of Rice Town in Glendon, Maryland. It's the little town that has the street with the four-way stops that I think are stupid. I mentioned it before. Alright, we're doing good. Let's just check that mix. Yeah, no. So we'll get on the highway because it's right there at 795 anyway. I'm excited about the shooting star. And here's a weird thing. One of the since I was in that truck driver's yesterday, when I was in his name is Bobby, but I don't know what his site name is. But anyway, so when I was on Bobby's channel yesterday, I was in there for a little bit, and after I would now I'm a regular chatter, although normally not. So I did make a comment a little bit, not long after I had asked my question. They were talking about, someone had, whoa, dear, dead. No, I think he was just asleep. They had brought up a conversation about whether people watch the live stream or he has video clips. I don't think he posts. Maybe he does. I don't think he does though. I don't think he posts the whole. Maybe that's what I should do. Oh, there's another dude. This was a massacre. In Owings Mills. The Owings Mills Deer Massacre of October 2025. That's an idea. Think about this. Instead of posting the whole video, that's what I'm doing right now. So basically, I wait till the end of till it processes, the whole thing's processed, and then I say, all right, now it's public, and you can see the whole 1 hour drive or whatever it is. Maybe what he does is, oh, that rattle, woo! Maybe I should go a little bit slower. There you go. Tune it in. Maybe there's like a 2 or 3 mile per hour limit. Watch, I can make it rattle. Here we go. Watch. Up a little bit. Yeah, ooh, so we were talking on in the chat, they were talking about whether people watch the videos that he posts or the live stream. And he said, no, everybody watches the live stream. It's like it's his viewers. He said if you look, and I actually didn't, but he said if you look back at his videos that are posted on his channel, they're, minimal views. Now, he is just driving most of the time and talking with the people in the chat. So maybe people are less interested in that. I mean, at least I have some entertaining stuff going. He's not stopping, getting out and delivering donuts and stuff. I mean, I got a lot going on. But that's an idea, though. Instead of having like these hour-long videos posted about the other day, I was thinking about making clips. Maybe that's all I should do. Is just put clips out there, summaries. When something happens. I mean, you don't really need to post every single video. I guess I see people that do that, and that's my first natural inclination was to just post everything that I do now. Maybe I should start, I'll see. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing for now, but it might make sense to just do a summary or just post the things that really matter. But doesn't everything matter? Every little choice you make matters. One thing we do not want to do is go to West Pennsylvania. But what we do want to do is go, I'm not going to head toward Hampstead right away. No matter what. Ooh, all green. That happened to me coming up. When I was coming up to the bakery, the same exact thing happened. So I have not stopped at that lake today. We're heading to Glendon now. I see people in the morning sometimes on my way to the bakery, so it's like, 4:30, 4:15, 4:30 in the morning. They just drive right through that light, like it's not even a light. Sometimes I'm sitting there and it's crazy. Some people, I've seen 2 or 3 people doing that consistently. I see the same person sometimes. I assume during the day when everybody's awake. At some point during the day, at least, they probably start paying attention to traffic lights, but not 5 o'clock in the morning. 4:30. 4:30 it was. I do not do that. That's not what I'm doing. Fire department right there. I haven't been there in a couple years, but they have they used to have a very elaborate display, Christmas train display. When are they open at 6? When are they open at 6? They look pretty open. Normally I would peel the doors open. Alright, just park over here. Alright, I'll be right back, everybody. I'll leave the camera on. I'll turn it around. Just let this go. I'm just grabbing this bucket and running. I got enough cream cheese right here to choke it down. Drop off complete. Drop off complete. They must open at 6 because there were customers in there. One. Well, there was. I saw a customer. Let me put it that way. So they probably should not have pluralized. Is that a word? Pluralized? The word was pluralized, or is it just the word is plural? I don't know. It's been a while. Rest English class. Boop, 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 boop. Look, I'm trying. I'm trying with the turn signals. All right. Hold me to it. I think it's the morning, right? There's nobody on the road. So you would think, though, that a person who talks to himself would turn signal to himself. Right? Makes sense. All right, straight shot up to the bakery. It's funny, I was in there and Jen and Bob, who own the bakery, have worked at that establishment, but they don't. But the people in there, so they know the people in there very, very well. Obviously, I don't. But there you go. So another situation. So I'm standing there with this bucket of cream cheese. I mean, what do you mean? Who are you? And why do you have a bucket of cream cheese? All reasonable thoughts. And I'm like, Chico's Bakery. And she said, okay. She's got a big smile on her face. Less pleasant. This is much more fun ahead. Let's go right into the left-hand side. There's a liquor store in this town. We just passed it. It was on the right. I bought Bitcoin like years ago, and I don't have a lot, so now I'm not like a billionaire delivery driver, but I've dabbled with crypto, and I wanted to test out the concept of, because they're a location that has a Bitcoin ATM. You're like, well, that's kind of weird. So you put money in it, and you can buy. You can get cash too, I guess. I just wanted to test it out, but anyway. At the end of the story, you're going to find out why I don't know a whole lot about it, because it's not good. It's not a good thing. So I'm like, oh, well, this might be good. Like, if I had $20, I could stick it in a machine now that would buy like 0.00001 Bitcoin now. But I mean, there was a time when they probably would have bought 20 Bitcoins. And then, my whole life story would be different. But I went in, and I'm looking for the Bitcoin machine, and the guy behind the register had no idea what I was even talking about. I said, like, damn it. I saw the ATM. They have a little ATM machine in there for regular money, right? Regular ATM. And then I set it up at home. Like, you have to set up an account with this company so that you can go in and deposit your money. And what it does is you put your money in there, and it basically simultaneously buys a Bitcoin or whatever portion of Bitcoin you got, and it credits your account. So you're seeing it online in your account or your e-wallet, call that. So I did that just to test it out. Thank God. Don't ever go there with like $1,000. You could probably do that, but just wait for this. The fee was like, I just remember it was like more than 20%. It was huge. Like, I could deal with, I wouldn't like it, but I could deal with like 2%, something like that. But the fee, if you put a significant amount of money in there, you would be paying tons. I mean, that's. So I was so shocked that I went back to their site and I like looked at their terms and agreements and stuff. The stuff that's like 90 pages and nobody reads it. So here's a good thing to keep in mind. If you ever come into it, if you're ever setting up something, an account online or something, anything, and you're presented with this huge, agreement, and they all have it. You've got to agree. You click agree at the end. Well, if it's something that you're not familiar with, I click those things all the time, right? Everybody does. And you say, yes, I agree. So you get your Amazon thing set up or whatever. But if you're ever dealing with something that you're not as familiar with, or you have any questions at all about it, then you should pull that material, either save it to a file, or there's probably a way to do it so that you can just direct AI to it. But what I did was I took their agreement, took a copy of it, stuck it in my AI, and I said, read through this and tell me anything that talks about fees. Darned if it wasn't there, plain as day. I told you what the fee was going to be. I mean, it's my own fault. Now, I would have been very upset if I deposited a lot of money, but I was just doing it as a small test. But the lesson learned is do not use those machines. They look like they're very convenient. It looks like, oh, this is kind of neat, but it's not. It's not. I was really kind of curious about like what price you would get. How would you know, because you're depositing money in there, or are you getting the current price? And I was so upset about the fee, I don't even remember. Like, the price is sort of mixed in there. It's a very, very fuzzy process. So I didn't like it at all. It's much better to do your, if you're interested in cryptocurrency. I'm certainly not recommending it to anyone. As everybody on YouTube says, this is not financial advice. I'm not saying at all, but I would say be cautious and be aware of the fees that you're paying, no matter what your service you're using. But that ATM, so I never went back. So I don't really. I'm not like I'm talking as an expert of ATM, Bitcoin users, because I stopped. I'm not paying that kind of fee. And there might be a process, there might be a company or a process that's less expensive, maybe. But for me, just straight up one line doing it is the better way to go. For me. This is the struggle I don't want to have. Like right now, what's going through my mind is I want to tell you guys about my experience yesterday when I went to my Starlink. And it has nothing to do, my experience has nothing to do with Starlink. It was the retail establishment where I went to buy it. That experience, not anything to do with Starlink. Love it so far. I mean, give it a week or so, because I've got to start using it, which would be maybe tomorrow, maybe. No promises. But when I get home today, I'm going to test it out. Probably set it up in my car and go for a quick ride and see what happens. Do a live stream soon. Testing it. But because I will want to just drive around a little bit, drive through route where I have trees, because there's a little bit of that on this route, where you actually have coverage over the road. But what's going through my mind is, all right, if I want to tell a story, I know there are sections of back roads on the way to Westminster. So between Hampstead and Westminster, there are 3 or 4 sections where I know it breaks up. And I'm not so concerned with the video game. I'm concerned that halfway through the story it starts breaking up. Because breaking up is hard. So hard. They say that breaking up hard. Now it's true. So this is the end. Instead of breaking up, I wish that we were making it. I might try to sing better, knowing that someone might be listening to me. This could really improve my life. And I have you to thank for that. We have no donuts, so I don't have to worry so much about the turns. I got trays that can slide. But I do not have my donut passengers. They'll be boarding here. This is like the bus station to pick up the donuts. Gotta check their tickets when they get on. You got a ticket for this ride? Oh, look. Oh, I got it before it turned. Someday I'm going to hit this pillar. One day I'll hit that trash can too. Hasn't happened yet, but when it does, you'll be there. All right. So I'm going to turn this off because I got to write up the ticket and all that kind of stuff. It's going to take too long. So I'll stop this live stream. We'll do another one. I'll be back soon. Hope to see you. Bye-bye.